Okay, good morning. My name is Robert Cardenas. I'm the City of Temecula's risk manager.
And my name is Vanessa Barrera, and I am the Risk and Emergency Management Coordinator.
Great, thank you. We want to welcome you to the second annual City of Temecula Emergency Management Summit. The theme for this year's summit is partnering agencies. Now, partnering agencies, if we look around the room right now, you're going to see people who we have and will rely on in the event of an emergency. Now, oftentimes when we think of emergencies, the first things we think about are first responders, but in this room we have individuals that know that that's a lot different as well, because the first responders rely on the partnering agencies. We've identified...
That's your cue to step down.
Yeah, I missed my cue. Sorry about that. Thank you. Yeah, don't forget to tip your waitresses, okay? So, no, we're good, thank you. We'll get you your tip. That being said, when we rely on these partnering agencies, that aspect is what we as a group, we got together, we created this focus group of an advisory committee. We said, what would be best for this region? Because as we all know, emergencies start local, right? Every emergency starts local. And understanding that, when we're in trouble, when we need something, we're going to look at our partnering agencies to say, how can we get together and help out? Now, the best time to plan for an emergency is when? Before an emergency, right? And that's part of what we're doing here. This is our effort towards that.
Before we get started, I would like to bring up a very special individual. This individual not only helped the City of Temecula coordinate with collaboration with FEMA, a summer youth program, but he is also FEMA's Region 9 Youth Preparedness Council member. RJ Cardenas, can you please come up to the stage and lead us into the flag salute?
Well, good morning, everyone. Could I have you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? We will be using the leftmost flag for the pledge, so please face the flag. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may take your seats. Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for coming out today. As was mentioned, my name is RJ Cardenas, and just a little bit about myself before we begin. I'm currently a student at Vista Murrieta High School, and I'm here today representing the VMHS Air Force JROTC program, as well as the FEMA Youth Preparedness Council. Now, my role in the Youth Preparedness Council has me serving to represent our region, which is Region 9 for FEMA. So that would be California, Nevada, Arizona, as well as the Pacific Islands. And this summer, I was given the opportunity to hold an internship with the City of Temecula, and this allowed me to further a collaboration with the city, which was implementing the Youth Emergency Preparedness Program. Now, this was a joint collaboration with the city and several other organizations within the city, and it really was meant to implement and educate high school students within this region about the importance of emergency management. More specifically, the decision-making processes that occur in emergency management, be it state, county, city, and federal level. And something else I got to do this summer was I had the opportunity to present this program to the FEMA Administrator, Mr. Brock Long in Washington, D.C., on behalf of the City of Temecula. And right now, that program is sitting on his desk in Washington, D.C. So we're very excited here to put City of Temecula Emergency Management on the map in the future going forward and implementing this program on a national level. And with that said, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Turns out he's my son, you know. It just turns out you got to get back to school now. Mom's waiting for you in the garage. Just turns out. Okay, so I have another special guest, a council member, Marianne Edwards, and I'd like to bring her up for a few opening remarks. Thank you, Marianne.
Don't let that picture fool you. It's only 12 years old, and I'm going to my grave with that picture, so just get used to it. Well, good morning. You know, you all represent the top of the line when it comes to emergency in Temecula. And an emergency can be so many different things. It can be anything from the floods that we experienced in Old Town. How many of you remember the Old Town floods in 1993? Literally, for those of you who don't remember, Old Town was under 6 feet of water. And it's really hard to imagine, but CNN was here, all the news channels were here, and the water was actually up to the bottom of the Rancho California Road Bridge because of the status of the creek bed. It had so much undergrowth in it, and we weren't allowed to go in and bulldoze the creek bed. You all know why, environmental concerns. And the water, we were deluged that year with rain, and I think it had been raining steadily for 4 or 5 days, and the creek just couldn't handle it. It just kept backing up, and it backed right up into Old Town, 6 feet underwater, the stores. It can be anything from that to the fires that we see, every year, and now we seem to be getting fires not just during fire season. We seem to be getting fires all year round because of the drought situation. Or it can be something like when we have an accident that shuts down the 15 freeway, and all the cars have to exit and come through Temecula. And for those drivers, that is an emergency. So, you have to be ready for all of those things. And with you at the top of, you're at the top of the list of that, all the way down to what we in the Midwest call the loaf of bread. In the Midwest, where I grew up, we actually had snow days. They allowed for extra days in school, in the school year, because inevitably you would close for sometimes a week at a time because of deep snow, and the buses couldn't travel, people couldn't get around. And this is when we all realized the loaf of bread phenomenon. If people anticipate an emergency, and I mean anticipate, that's when they go to the store. In my little tiny town, there were only 2 grocery stores. That's the bad news. The good news is my family owned one of them. So we always had our loaf of bread. But they literally have runs on the grocery store, and things disappear from the shelves, the canned goods, because people don't know how long they're going to be stuck at home. So you would go to the store inevitably, and you would see that last loaf of bread on the shelf. So just imagine, you're at the top of that list. You're running around trying to make sure everything is delivered, power's turned on, people are safe in their homes, vehicles can move, and those people are worried about that one loaf of bread because of everything that you do at the top of the list, down to that one loaf of bread. So never underestimate the value that you have in any type of emergency. We rely on you. Safety first in Temecula. Public safety is our highest priority, and it will always be our highest priority. So I can't thank you enough for everything that you do to help us prepare and be prepared so that we don't have that one loaf of bread. We have an entire shelf full of bread. So thank you very much on behalf of Mayor Matt Ron and the City of Temecula.
Thank you, Marianne. Marianne, if I can please have you stay up here. A couple more things. In the City of Temecula, we'd like to recognize individuals who've had an impact, especially in events of emergency. We have 2 awards to give out today. The first award is our agency award, our first award is our individual award. And then we're also going to follow that up with an agency award. So for the first award, I'd like to please bring up Jerry Hagen. You don't need to hurry. You can just,
And you can imagine this could either be a drop of water or it might be part of a flame. So prepared for everything. This is a multi-purpose award. But again, on behalf of the City of Temecula, our residents, our partnering agencies, called Temecula Norte, which is also called Murrieta, we'd like to thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry, you can say, I have a few words to say as well. You could be here. Thank you, Jerry. If I can have you stay up here. The individual award presented to Jerry Hagen. The Spirit of Emergency Management Award is presented to Jerry Hagen for his dedicated service in the field of emergency management. Jerry currently works with the County Riverside Emergency Management Department as an emergency services coordinator. In this capacity, he works very closely with the City of Temecula Emergency Management Department to coordinate various city events, including the city's first annual Youth Emergency Preparedness Program, the city's CERT program, and the city's annual Emergency Management Summit. We appreciate Jerry's continued dedication and service to the field of emergency management. The city of Temecula wants to warmly thank Jerry for all his contributions. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, we have one more award.
For this next award, I would like to bring up Gerald on behalf of the American Red Cross. The American Red Cross, the Spirit of Emergency Management Agency Award, is presented to the American Red Cross. Through its strong network of volunteers, donors, and partners, the American Red Cross is readily available in times of need, effectively turning compassion into action. The American Red Cross is an invaluable partner to this region through programs, blood drives, education, resources, and shelter care. We appreciate the American Red Cross' continued dedication and service to the field of emergency management. The city of Temecula wants to warmly thank them for all their contributions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, one more. So we talked about the theme of partnering agencies. Now, what we did this year is we brought together an advisory group. The advisory group made up of regional representatives. I'm going to list the names of those individuals, and if I can have you please come up. Charles Walker, Captain Matt Hayes. Yeah, Charles is probably upstairs. Yeah. Jerry, Cindy Quigley, Larry Green, and Jason Osborne. We want to give them a token of our appreciation for coming up with the theme, for the time and energy invested in meeting with us and talking about the issues, and really brainstorming on what is pertinent to this area and this region. So for that, thank you. Oh. Thank you. You're done. You may go. Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Okay, we have some housekeeping items to go over real quick, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the format of what you're going to be going through today. The idea of a summit is just that. We want to hear from you guys. So the way we're going to operate that is kind of interesting. If you guys look up here to the right, you see a lot of little goodies, right? There's wine bottles up there. We got, mugs, those things, right? I like those. And we've invested a lot of time and energy, and there are a lot of individuals who have donated those items, and they're there as well. If you want to get one of those, what we're going to do is, for every question you ask, we're going to give you a ticket. Let me see what the ticket looks like, right? Of our panel, right? These are what our tickets look like, right? These here, right? So When you ask a question, somebody is going to hand you a ticket. In that ticket, one piece will be placed in there, and then we're going to periodically have raffles throughout the day. So we're going to give some of that stuff away, okay? Also, too, for every stamp, for every vendor that you visited, we are also going to go ahead and give you a ticket for that as well. So please see some of our assistants on the side, and they'll give you a ticket for that, okay? The other thing, we have a coffee bar that's out there, iVibe. They're going to be here until 1 o'clock. They're going to be here all day. Coffee's free. They also have some snacks there. That's free as well. Please feel free to visit them to get your coffee. Speaking of coffee, our bathrooms are right outside, right across the hall. Okay? So is there anything else, Vanessa, you'd like to add before we move on? Okay, so we have a few minutes before we get our first panel up here. So if I can do a couple of things, if I can ask our panel members for the first to come up here. And for the rest of you guys, if you guys want to go get some coffee, take a break, you guys can do that. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you.